After a drive like that with you stood next to Damon, we can have a little chuckle here. A different type of driving standards we're talking about today, won't we? Imperious, it really was. What a drive.
Yeah, look, I mean, Max was, he was a masterclass today, and I think in those conditions, the driver's skill really comes to a fore, and he was in a league of his own. So I think as a team, we got all the calls right. I never expected to win that. I thought if we could get somewhere near the podium would be an amazing result. So, for him to have gone out there and won that race, it was an outstanding drive. Absolutely. He was patient. He attacked when he needed to. And his restart, I mean, he came from so far back. Truly an outstanding drive today.
Is there a better driver in the wet, in your opinion? We've seen it before here.
I think in the wet and the dry, he's the best in the world at the moment. And it's been a while, but I think that the whole team have really kept their heads and worked incredibly hard. And, we've fought ourselves back into a winning position. And, that's testimony to the effort that goes on behind the scenes back in Milton Keynes, that nobody ever gives up. And, we've demonstrated that today.
Christian, we talk about the mood swing from this morning to now. I don't think we were commenting. I don't think we've ever seen him looking so happy on a podium. Would you agree with that?
You don't often see him that animated. And you could see that meant a lot for him. And it's been a long time since we've won a race. I mean, we always play the Rolling Stones in, for Dietrich Mateschitz when we win, and it's a long time since I've heard that soundtrack. So it was great, a great performance, great result for the team today.
So when the safety car came back in at the end and they restarted the race, Max, it was what, 21 laps left on the clock, 20 laps, and he's managed to pull a 19-second gap.
29 laps, I think that was at the end.
Okay, 29 laps, 19 seconds that he managed to pull. So clearly in the wet, he's able to make this car work, and you're right, he's an incredible driver in the dry as well, but unfortunately, the car is holding him back a little bit. So how can you guys make sure to change that performance? I mean, there are still a few races left.
We've given him a very good car this weekend in the dry. Yesterday, he was quick. And the car, was in a window that it was working very well. And I think I was very surprised that the safety car came in after only a single lap. And you could see the guys at the back of the train were struggling to catch it up. But, Max just got on with the job. And I think one of his very best drives today.
In terms of the decision you made, when the rain was really coming down and then the Colapinto crash brought out the red flag, and we quite surprised by the decision that both Mercedes and Lando Norris's side of the garage decided to pit at that stage. Was that something you thought, you wouldn't have done that?
You're sort of in the lap of the gods at that point, and you're hanging in there for exactly the situation that we had with a safety car, and then it went red, and then it resets the race. So it's a difficult one, and we lost out this morning, and it went right for us this afternoon.
Just shows, doesn't it, what a brilliant driver is worth to a team like. I mean, we saw people struggling to get through the field. Can you quantify that? I mean, to you, if it was a budget, how much more of a budget would you need to get the performance that he delivers for you?
But look, I think Max is invaluable. I mean, it's impossible to put a number on that. I mean, that was a champion's drive, and there's some great drivers out there, as we well know, but to stand out and shine like that today was, that marks him out, I think, with some of the greats now. And, the way he's driven, and even when we've had a difficult car this year, he's never given up. He's gone about collecting the points, and, he's always trying to get maximum out of the car.
Thank you, Christian.
Thank you very much.
Week, mates. Well, let you go and enjoy that with the rest of the Red Bull team. Although Sergio Perez, it has to be said, outside of the points, he started from 12th and couldn't make the difference, whereas Max Verstappen could. Let's get some reaction from the McLaren camp, starting with Lando Norris.
Easy to look back on a race like today and try and pinpoint where it went wrong. If we can start with the start, is the second phase of your start in the McLaren a tricky one? Because that seemed to be where where George got the advantage at the very start.
The wet start's just a bit of a
lottery,
bit of a gamble. Yeah. One day, it'll go your way, one day, the other day not. The left side of the grid was a little bit better than the right side, so that didn't change much. All of our position losses were just under the red flag with the free pit stop for the others, so unfortunate, nothing more. George probably felt like he won the race today, and he probably deserved to win the race today more than anyone else. But sometimes it's just unlucky, and the rules go against you. So difficult day. I made a couple of mistakes. It cost me against George and cost me against Charles. But Yeah, nothing more. I think was a tough day. I did my best. Just I've had a lot of good races. It was about time that something didn't go right.
The aborted start. What do you understand about that procedure? Because I know it's still under
It's something I need to go and see
investigation
with the team.
post-race. Okay. And in terms of the pit stop, when you said lap 25, I want to come in, and they said stay out, and then you end up in the situation you're in where you do pit, and then there's the safety car, and you've lost that advantage. How strong can you be on the radio? In wet conditions, do you get more say or less say with the team? What is there any difference?
I get equal. It's just I have faith in the team and what they're saying, and they have trusted me. It was the right thing to do. Just we're just unlucky. So I don't care about the hindsight of things. That's luck for them. Nothing more. You know, it's just they got lucky on a rule that no one agrees with. Probably them today, they agree with it, but every driver's disagreed with it in the past. And today it benefited them. It could have benefited us if we just stayed out, but that's a stupid thing to think of, you know. So just a bit unlucky today. Nothing more. Of course, disappointing with the results, and could have been better, but yeah, we'll keep pushing.
It's tough. Max on the podium behind you as well. That makes
he drove well.
very
He got
tough.
a bit lucky.
Thank you. It was a tough old afternoon. Let me just start with the 10-second penalty. How did you see that incident?
Yeah, I deserved it. I didn't get far enough alongside, and yeah, tagged his left rear. So my fault. Just one of those days, really. Yeah, after that, just lacked pace to get through, really. So yeah, bit of a frustrating day.
It's been a tough day for the team as a whole. What sort of pace is there in this car right now? Is today a massive missed opportunity, or this weekend? I mean, I know there was the 1-2 yesterday.
I'm not sure the pace was great today in the rain. I think it was decent in qualifying. I don't know if we just struggled with track position and then that was the issue, but I mean, we weren't really doing much in the race, either of us. So I think just a tough day. You know, it was obviously qualifying was partly my mistake. I think we've got a bit of an issue on the car, so hopefully we can try and get that fixed for next time as well. But yeah, it was just a really tough and frustrating day.
For the pit stop when, you know, the top three out there on the podium stayed out, and a couple of mistakes from Lando. So it's just an all-round bad day for them.
It just feels like they've left some points on the table. It hasn't been the first time this season that they've done that. And
There are moments in the season where they've kind of fumbled it. They'll go and think about it long and hard, and they'll come back a lot tougher. But, you know, to win a championship, you can't afford to make any mistakes. You know, the competition's too hot and too relentless.
Especially against Max Verstappen, because there's always a drive like that in him, whether or not the car is not the car it was last year. Okay, let's talk to Ollie Oakes, who is a man who will keep his feet on the ground, no doubt. But
They're firmly stuck.
Oh, I was just saying, I can imagine it's fairly hard after that.
Yeah.
How's it feeling right now?
Yeah, pretty surreal. I mean, yeah, it was... I'm lost for words a bit. It was a very strong race from both drivers. And everything, you know, credit to everyone at Enstone and Viry. It was mega.
There was nothing lucky about it, was it? The car was strong here for this track, in the dry as well.
Yeah, I mean, obviously yesterday in the dry we showed that with Pierre, and I think this morning in the rain we're slightly frustrated not to get both cars through to Q3, but, you know, they've more than made up for it now. Yeah.
Ollie, I know you've not been here all season long, but I know you've obviously been watching, and it's been probably one of the hardest seasons for Alpine so far, with that be on track, off track. There's been a lot of instability, and I think you guys desperately needed this moment. Could you have imagined this?
Yeah, look, this team it's a great team. It always has been, and I think when I arrived, it obviously had a tough start to the season. The last 12, 18 months weren't what the team's all about. But honestly, I can say since I arrived, it's been so strong. You can see the spirit in the team. And those last few races, Austin, everything, it's just been, yeah, it's been amazing.
Yeah, just have a look at those shots, I was going to say. I mean, that's what it means. You know, all these people, you know, their lives, well, many of us are institutionalised when it comes to Formula One, and they're travelling, they're living every single moment of it. And when you get a result like that, I know Naomi pointed to it, but it has to be a lift, doesn't it? I mean, it's got to be something that...
I mean, they work so hard, and honestly, across Viry and Enstone, you know, I've been there 14, 16 weeks, and you see what they put into it, and that just shows. Yeah.
Karun and David Croft were doing a sort of back of the fact packet kind of calculation how much it's worth.
I'm sure Karen was. Yeah.
Yeah, you would have been, yeah.
It's quite a lot, I think.
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, Flavio will be on my case now. Yeah, saying keep it up. Yeah.
I just want to say, I just saw you having a sip of a coconut. Have you had a sip of the champagne yet? 'Cause
Not
there's
yet.
a couple of bottles
Not yet.
going
I've
around.
got a flight home to my daughter, so I shouldn't celebrate too much.
Well,
More seriously, though, today's obviously been a whirlwind of a day for everybody, but even in the dry, you guys have picked up your pace quite a lot. It's been quite a turnaround. So are we going to see more of this top 10 action the rest of the season?
Yeah, I mean, look, we have to be humble, but I think those last few races we've shown with one car always up there in Q3, we need to get both up there. That's what's great about today, to have two happy sides of the garage. We just need to keep doing that.
Ollie, I mean, it's the same for every team, I know, but, the continuation of the regulations through to next year, and then the balance between aiming everything for 26. You've got some big decisions that are being made internally at the moment. So how do you split your focus, and how do you prioritise over the next, because we've only got 3
I would say
races this year.
lots of debating and compromises.
Right, okay.
No, look, that's tricky to manage, but actually, I think there's some great people there, and, I've only been in the job, I think, 16 weeks now, and honestly, they've all helped me get up to
An
speed.
incredible effect.
Well, yeah, I can't take credit, though, really.
Get to work
It's important
quickly.
to say that. They're all working so hard, and I can see that. And it's going to be a good winter now. This is what we need to get some momentum behind us.
100%. And how often do you speak with Flav? I just want to understand what
Well,
he has
to give you an
brought to all
answer, as
this.
soon as the
Moving-
flag dropped, he
Yeah.
was on the phone.
Of course he was.
And complaining I hadn't rang him yet. No, he's a massive ambassador, big part of it, and I took the job because of him and Luca, their support, and you can see that in the team. Everyone's hungry for this.
And what was specifically is, I mean, look, these two haven't always, by the way,
Yeah,
have
yeah,
they?
yeah.
Been
You're definitely
bosom
right there.
buddies, but look, right now they're sharing a moment, and I was
Yeah.
mentioning, having come up through junior
Should draw a
formula
little love heart on that, shouldn't we?
We should, we really should. We could put that.
No, but they've been, since I've been in the team, I have to say, it hasn't been an easy time, and they've been pushing really hard, and it's great to see.
Ocon, Esteban was in the lead. He was pulling away ridiculously.
I just said over there, it's a shame it was Max behind us, wasn't it?
Yeah.
No, but he was flying today, and I was so impressed as well with Pierre, with George breathing down his neck for all that stint. Credit to them both.
Were you nervous at any point? Because at some point the rain really started to come down. Esteban's leading the race, and he's actually pulling a gap to Diaz. Were you thinking, whoa,
At that point,
don't overdo it?
There was a lot of chatter over, strategy, the drivers, do you stay out, do you not? And, that's a good buzz. At the end of the day, that's why we do this job. We love those moments.
What did Esteban say about the start? Because did he just follow Lando when Lando went?
I was laughing because about a year ago in Asian F3 I had the same thing happen where my driver was the one who actually stayed because it wasn't the rules, and we're sitting there going, well, this is a bit weird, but you kind of have to go because otherwise you're all stuck there, so it was a bit confusing.
Top man, Ollie, we'll let you go and enjoy that with
thanks
the
very
team.
much.
And not seen him enjoy one that much for a long time, but the 3-time world champion, absolutely amazing. What a drive for him, finishing some 20 seconds ahead of Esteban Ocon, having started from 17th. What a display by him. Now, as we said, both the Mercedes drivers with the stewards, the reason for that was because they were deemed to be changing the tyre pressures on their tyres whilst they're still bolted on. Let's hear from them now.
We heard you on the radio. I mean, choosing not to pit, does that cost you the win today?
We're in this together as a team, and we'd have probably taken P4 ahead of the weekend. We'll go over it. Sometimes it's difficult to predict what's about to happen. Everybody's doing their best and making the best calls with the information available. So,
Does that swing at all when the conditions are like that? Because you're out there driving in it. Is there a point where sort of it goes 60-40 one way more than the other, or can you have those discussions?
Normally when it's drying, it's the team's call to say, let's go to slicks. When it's getting wetter, it's normally the driver's call to say, have slicks to inters or inters to wets. I was very confident it was going to go safety car or red flag because it was like driving a boat. What can we say?
You weren't alone in that. A lot of drivers were saying this shouldn't be a rolling start. It's not safe enough.
It was. I was shocked, to be honest. I mean, we could barely keep. I couldn't keep my foot on the gas down the straight. Car was aquaplaning, exceptionally dangerous for those couple of laps. But yeah, they like action, I guess.
Just finally, I have to ask you about the investigation into the tyre pressures being adjusted while the tyres were on the car on the grid.
Yeah.
For the second formation or the second start. Are you expecting a penalty? Do you know what penalties could come from that? Or?
Well, I hope not, because the pressures we had in were totally wrong. I don't think we even managed to change the pressures. I don't know, to be honest, I don't know what the rule is with adjusting pressures on.
I think that the rule is they're supposed to be off the car if you adjust the pressures. So I think McLaren were doing it, but they'd taken the wheels off the car to adjust the pressures. And then
Okay.
back on the
Well, we
tyre.
actually didn't get the tyre pressure adjustment in.
Okay.
So they came up to me and said, look, we don't have a tyre pressure adjustment. I was really surprised at how competitive we were, because the pressures were totally incorrect.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Lewis, in all your experience, how tough was that point today compared to other races? Was it the hardest point you've had to earn?
Yeah. It was just slow. The car was really, really tough. But I do really want to still say a big thank you to the guys in the garage, because they turned up super early this morning. Still did a great job throughout the weekend. And everyone back at the factory, I know, will be feeling pain. And the team could have won also today, so at least one car was behaving okay.
What are you dealing with in your car then? What are the challenges you're having just to get that car around right now?
It's like a plank of wood. It's like no suspension. Just bouncing on the tires everywhere, and you can't get on the power anywhere. Just the worst ride, I think, with the worst ride definitely that we've ever had, particularly through corners. Just so stiff. But yeah, hopefully we won't have any more bumpy tracks. I think the last three aren't so bumpy, so but yeah, I could happily go and take a holiday.
Yeah, just a quick one on that one. I mean, absolutely, you just tell he had nowhere to go with it, did he, this weekend?
Yeah, and we were monitoring the radio messages over the chat, and you could see that both drivers were really complaining a lot about braking. You know, Lewis saying he was locking up, couldn't get on the brakes, no confidence, and George also saying there's a problem, the brakes are split, meaning the balance of the brakes isn't the same from one side to the other, which for a driver is you lose your confidence completely when you go into a braking zone and you don't know if it's going to lock on one side and not the other. That's really not what you want, particularly not in these conditions. So yeah, I mean, he's just had a hard time lately, Lewis, particularly. I mean, his qualifyings haven't been the way he wanted them to, and then yeah, it's just, you can tell that he wants to get to the end of this chapter because the car's just not giving him what he knows how to do best in a car that performs better.
Bernie, we know how much you love radars, obviously, but you also are pretty good on tyre pressure, so you can tell us a little bit about what might happen, because I've been in with the stewards, for adjusting their tyre pressures whilst on the grid, whilst the tyres were bolted on. We actually saw a shot, didn't we, of McLaren doing it with the tyres off.
And to get that tyre down to the minimum pressure rather than what it's been in the garage. The reason it all comes about is they fitted the first set, it's ready to go. The second set in the garage isn't ready to go, but suddenly with the aborted start, the chance to change tyres, you want to get those ones on quickly. So that's why they're in this rush to change the tyre pressure. The regulations from Pirelli, which is covered in what we call a technical directive, not in the regulations, that says that needs to be done off the car. So they're incorrect on that. Now, we don't really have any examples that we can easily find that says what the penalty for that has been in the past. It's not a technical regulation, but it is a directive. So I think they'll be pretty harsh on it, or should be. But that's how they got to that situation. It's that rush of trying to get the second set in that 10 minutes that they're on the grid for the restart.
Someone from the FIA right over the shoulder as well. So, yeah, someone's maybe not read the technical directive properly or whatever.
Yeah, and it's a bit of the rush. It's this, they're trying to get the pressure down, and like what George is saying in his interview there is they didn't get it down to the minimum, so the pressure is too high. They'll be fit to prove during that stint that it was legal at all times. But the rule is there to prevent it, something dodgy happening on the grid.
OK, let's drive forward. We've got a triple header. We've got a couple of weeks off, then the final three races. And it now looks almost inevitable, doesn't it? I mean, 62 points, 86 still on the table. But let's just doff our cap, if we could, to Max Verstappen. Because I was say, what a difference a week makes. Going from what we were discussing in Mexico to this, that was a champion's drive. That is why he's a triple world champion.
And the last 2 years have been easy for him. And I say easy, obviously advisedly, it's not easy, never easy. He makes it look easy, but he's had competition this year. He's lost momentum. you look at his performances, well, is it 10 races since he last won a race? I mean, it's like a really barren spell for them. Hence their joy, because they know that they've stopped the rot, they've stopped the slide, they stopped the encroachment on that title by Lando and McLaren, and I think he can breathe much more easily now.
I think he can, but as far as the constructors is concerned, I mean, that one could be going all the way to Abu Dhabi, and that's worth, again, millions of dollars, and, you know, the teams all put an emphasis on that as well. Of course they do.
Yeah, I think Ferrari had a bit of a sigh of relief there at the end with Oscar getting a penalty and, you know, the day not going perfectly for Lando, because unfortunately with Sainz out, Leclerc not very far up, it was neck and neck between the two of them today, but it still looks like it's going to go right on to the end. There's still quite a lot of points on the board, and we've still got a lot to watch for. I mean, this season has delivered so much incredible racing, so many incredible results, and it's been worth tuning in. So I think let's keep tuning in right till the end.
We will. You know, it's worth getting up early.
Well, it was worth getting up early for us, definitely. You know, we got a qualifying and a race, which we were very worried about at points yesterday. Even points through today, I was worried about maybe the race become time limited, or we lost quite a few cars through it. So we had a lot of good racing.
But credit to F1, credit to everybody for looking for the window, the weather window, and actually coming in to do this so that we could get, the fans deserve, especially here, we know just how passionate they are, a full day of racing.
I don't think anybody's going to go away disappointed. They might be a bit damp, but I don't think we're going to be tired and hungry, but otherwise we're happy.
There we go. Thank you, Damon. Thank you, Bernie. Thank you, Naomi. And thank you to you all at home. If you stuck with us all the way through the day, well done you. I hope it's been worth it, because it certainly has been from our perspective. Ted's Race Notebook is next from here in Brazil. We'll be back, as I said, in 3 weeks' time for the start of that final triple header. Max has got one hand on the trophy. From us all here, bye-bye.